I have been a Sonic fan since the very beginning. One of my first video games I ever played was the original Sonic the Hedgehog. And ever since playing that one faithful game, I have been a Sonic fan through and through. From the games themselves, to the design of the characters, the stories that they have, and especially if you're a Sonic fan as well, the OST present in each and every one of their games. I'll admit, the one side of Sonic that I probably don't interact with as much as everything else is the racing games. However, my racing experience all began with the original Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders was the game that I grinded the most on the GameCube. I played an absurd amount of Sonic Riders, but the foundation that game had on me has led me to have an infamous reputation, and basically none of my friends ever want to play any racing games with me. So when Sonic CrossWorlds was first announced, and there was a teaser of an extreme gear on the wall, could this be the game? Could this be the game that they bring back the extreme gear? It was supreme copium when the freaking teasers first happened, but I was beaming at the opportunity and the chance to once again hop on an extreme gear in a Sonic racing game. So today we're finding out if CrossWorlds can come anywhere close to giving off that feeling of once again playing Sonic Riders for the first time. Alright, this is it. First round online.
Now's my chance.
Oh, come on!
I should have done better.
Damn. Immediately following my first race online, I realized this game definitely has the potential. as you might have noticed during the frenzy mode that came up on that second lap, it has its moments where, just like your typical kart racer, it overstimulates you to the max. When it suddenly dropped frenzy on me, first of all, I had no idea that this was a mechanic, but I was under the assumption that, oh, this probably means like typically like, you know, you have frantic mode in Mario Kart. You know, you're probably just going to either get an absurd amount of items or like you're going to get better items. But no, you just permanently have, you know, an item that it designates for that section. So in that one, it had designated the dash. And so you have your moments of overstimulation, which I think are necessary for a kart racer, right? So in that sense, I'll give it to you. I think they do a phenomenal job of getting the traditional kart racer feel. Obviously, the whole point of me doing this video is the extreme gear, and as you can tell, I immediately, the moment I had the opportunity to use an extreme gear, that is exactly what I stayed using. I have not played a single match on a regular kart racer, because why would I? It just feels so much cooler being on the extreme gear and being able to do the air tricks, which is a new mechanic, I assume, that they've brought in, because I don't remember this being in any of the previous kart racers. It's really cool, especially doing it on extreme gear, where like if you ever played the original Riders or any of the other Riders games, you know, air tricking, you know, air management, there's a whole system behind how you would manage your extreme gear and making sure that you didn't run out of oxygen or air, because then your extreme gear would, you know, stop working and you'd have to actually physically run on the track and you would run slower than your gear, right? There's this whole air management system, this complicated system that made Riders what it was and what personally I enjoyed so much about the game. Now, when going back to that initial teaser that I saw of like, oh, potentially extreme gear in Sonic CrossWorlds, like, when I first saw that, I knew there was no way that they were going to be able to add in some complicated air system like they had in the Riders games. But it was just simply the fact that, oh, we have the opportunity, we have the possibility of playing with the mechanic from a game that I just enjoyed so much, obviously thrown in with your mixture of your typical kart racing game. But as you can also see, the quality of the game off the bat, to me at least, feels really good. Artistically, for them to go back and choose settings from previous games, I mean, we're looking at Metal Harbor here. Even if you're not a Sonic fan, I assure you, a lot of you have probably played Sonic Adventure 2 at some point. I think by far, for sure, how the race starts off does seem a little chaotic and honestly, maybe even a little slow. I think that's the one thing. I think there's maybe a level of speed or control that I want more of. So if you haven't noticed by now, whenever you run up against the wall, you lose coins. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, throughout my whole time playing this game for the 45 minutes that I've played on the first night, I didn't even notice the ring system. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if it makes you go faster. Like, obviously I see that there's a bunch of rings on the track, but it's such an absurd amount of rings that I'm like, surely I have enough rings for whatever bonus or boost I get from them, right? Whereas like in your Mario Karts, for example, like Mario Kart World extended it to 20 coins, but you're always kind of aware of how many coins you have. Sometimes you go out of your way, especially early on in the laps, to get some of those 20 coins up. Other games, you actually probably don't even collect any coins at all, because all you're worried about is, you know, especially if like you're doing, you know, kart, like the tour, like if you fall behind, you automatically are disqualified, like that sort of thing, right? There's a lot of management that you have to do. But here I'd say that the ring system doesn't fully, like, I'm never glancing at the bottom right of my screen, and that might have just been because I'm taking this all in on this first night that I was playing this, and so once I go back again, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go back again to playing this game, I think, you know, maybe it's different, but so far I've been having a good time. I think it's a solid kart racer. I obviously love the inclusion of the extreme gear in this game. online. I don't think I've actually played any, like, when I have played the Transformed and All Stars Racing in the past, you know, the other two Sonic Kart racers that have been out before, I never played them online. It was always just locally. So for this beta to have that online functionality, like, this is my first time playing against other people in a Sonic racing game. Which I think, obviously, as a Sonic fan, is really cool. But obviously, I've played other, you know, racers online. But yeah, overall, dude, I just had a blast. I had such a fun time. Watch me steal first place from this guy. I know he was mad, but I just had an overall fun time. I think that was the other thing, too, that I was looking at. Is this going to be nostalgia-based? Also, I haven't talked about this. This starting sequence where you like have to time it to that green bar to get your boost. Honestly, I like it. I think that's cool because, like, you know, you gotta like have your, you know, your sequence down at the beginning. If you mess it up, there's like a small window for you to still get somewhat of a boost. But like in contrast to like your Mario Kart, where everybody knows like you either hold down at 3, 2, 1, or you hold permanently starting at 2. Like, you know, there's tricks, right? But here, like, you can actually measure it. I think that's actually really cool, and makes it easier for like players that have never done, you know, any like racing game to like kind of get that timing down on how do you get that initial boost. But, you know, details aside, going back to my nostalgic comment, I think a lot of the success that Sonic has had recently is a combination of nostalgia and embracing new ideas, right? Like, especially if you look at the movies. I'm getting into this whole rant that doesn't have anything to do with the game, but like, just enjoy the game. Like, just enjoy the game while I rant for a little bit, because this is like my one Sonic video that I've ever made on this channel. But like, the movies right now are really successful because they're taking something that happens in the games, which all of the fans really enjoy, but they're doing a spin to it, right? I mean, the fact that Jim Carrey has come out of retirement for 3 different Sonic movies goes to show that, like, there's a lot of passion that gets put into the films. And while it doesn't necessarily align with what, oh, you know, that didn't happen like that in the game, it's still something that you can appreciate, and it shows that they're still innovating and trying to branch out and do things. And on the gaming side, you have your Sonic and Shadow Generations, right? Which, Sonic Generations is another game from my childhood that, like, oh my god, when that game first came out and touched on pretty much every game that I had played growing up until that point, like, I still stand by Sonic Generations being one of my most favorite games of all time. Because even though it's a compilation of stuff you've already played in the past, it is a phenomenal compilation, and it does it so well. So when I saw Crossroads, I was like, oh, you know, they're bringing the extreme gear. It's probably going to be like some nostalgia bait. But happily, that wasn't so much the case. Like, there's still something infused into that old style of extreme gear. First place, you already know. There is a ranking system here too. Got to get to the S rank at some point or another. Run this shit up. That's right, I don't belong in D tier, brother. And speaking of nostalgia, the other thing this game is doing, like, unfortunately, right now, at the current moment that I am aware of, you can't play as him. But this game is adding in characters from other Sega franchises that are relevant nowadays. I remember back in the day, I mean, writers had, like, Luna, and I forget, a Knight, and I forget who else, from other Sega, games, right? And at the time, I remember as a kid, I'm like, I have no idea who these characters are, but they have cool designs. And like, eventually I would go on to like try their games, etc. And, you know, Super Monkey Ball, whatever, right? But like, at the time, I remember I would come across people occasionally that were like, oh, you know, that's such a crazy collaboration that Sonic Riders had. Very few, right? But now you have people like Hatsune Miku, you got Joker up in here, you're gonna have Steve. Okay, like, and I don't want to like nerd out, but like, I think that is so cool. First of all, I think it's so cool because like, I think ever since Fortnite introduced all these crazy collaborations, I do think it's time for other games to start also doing collaborations when it makes sense. Obviously, I don't think it should disrupt the core concept of a game, but I think a racing games makes the most sense, right? When we inevitably one day, I doubt Nintendo would ever allow this, but when we inevitably get either Mario in a Sonic racing game, or more likely Sonic in a Mario racing game, I think we will be achieving peak whenever that happens, right? But regardless, I think it's a fun mixture of nostalgia, current references that if you've been a fan, if you've played some of the more recent games, you'll enjoy it. But also, like, obviously bringing in new audiences with some of the collaborations that the game is doing. I truly do think that Sega is doing their best to reach new audiences, but also appreciate the audiences that have been here for a while. I mean, again, I to be honest, have not played any of the previous kart racers to that high of an extent, right? But here I am hopping into Crossroads, and I had a really fun time, and I'm actually looking forward to the rest of this weekend and getting a couple more matches in. So I think they cooked. I think they have something great here. I would really encourage you, if you somehow made it to the end of this video, I know it became a rant midway through, go give this game a chance. It's free for this weekend. You just gotta hop on Steam if you're on PC to give it a try. I promise you'll have fun. Now watch me steal this first place. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below in the comments what your best Sonic memory is. Are you going to be playing Crossroads? Have you enjoyed it if you have already played it? And again, random video, but I don't care. Alright, I wanted to make this video. It's up. I'll see y'all for the next one. Oh, wait! What?